Well, greetings everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Some Bond Geek Talks About, with me, your host, the name's Stevens, Henry Stevens. Everybody, how'd you do? Hope you enjoying a good Bond film, a good Bond book, good Bond video game, a good James Bond, whatever makes you part of this glorious community that is the James Bond community, everybody. Hello. And today, we're going to go back into the realms of Elseworlds with the James Bond franchise and look at another what if. Specifically, it is this. What would it have been like if Sean Connery did actually star in On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Now, this whole thing about whether Connery, what could have been like if Connery was been in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I've seen on the internet for years, everybody. I've seen people come up with theories. Would it have been as good? Would it have been worse? You know, what would the box office been like? What would that mean? Would he have not done Diamonds Are Forever? All these sort of different questions, everybody, when it comes to Sean Connery and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And, you know, we lost the performance of George Lazenby in this Elseworlds, everybody. But you know what? We're going to look into it today. But before we get into that, we're going to start looking just a quick bit about Connery's tenure as James Bond and the reasons why he left. Now, it's fair to say, everybody, that Sean Connery was an unknown, and he got the role of James Bond, and it made him an international superstar. There's no denying that, is there, everybody? What was great about it, and by the way, God rest, sir, is he really was, I think, one of the greatest actors of all time. I mean, really do. He had the technique, he had the gravitas, the power, the sophistication, and the talent every time to back up every performance. He was, without a doubt, one of, I think, the greatest actors of all time. And he really made James Bond his own. I mean, he started off the franchise. He signed Dr. No and From Russia with Love, each getting better than Goldfinger, which started, if you will, the James Bond phenomenon. You know, and Thunderball as well. Things were going sky high. Well, that's what it looked like in front of the cameras. Behind the scenes, it was a slightly different situation. The best way to go about this, everybody, is looking at from two perspectives. So let's look at Sean's. Basically, Sean Connery felt during the latter part of his tenure as Bond that he was being slightly used. Now, I don't know about you, everybody, but I'm going to speak for myself. If I feel I'm being used, I get more agitated and upset, and so I'm prone to get more angry at certain people who I feel are using me, which I think caused a lot of the tension as well. Basically, Sean Connery felt he wasn't being paid enough or given enough credit, or you know, basically for what he was doing, and was just told basically to act like a puppet and just do what we say. The other side of the situation is the matter with the amount of press he was getting. From what I understand, Sean Connery does like his private life, and I can respect that very much so. And obviously, he wasn't really getting that much sort of peace and quiet as Bond. I mean, there's the very famous story in Japan, filming You Only Live Twice, about the photographer taking a photo of him while he was in the loo. I mean, God, but no one deserves that. And I can understand his sense of privacy. I mean, example being, I've met probably, honestly, two famous people in my life. And when I say meet, I try to respect their privacy. I've literally just seen them, made eye contact, and just waved and said hi. And they've generally waved back, and I've just moved on. I feel that's a bit of respecting one's privacy a little bit. So, you know, that really mattered a lot to him. On the other side, when you come to the producers, they were obviously renegotiating their deal all the time, making sure they were happy, because they felt they were the reason for the Bond success. You know, nothing to do with Connery a bit at the time. Well, that's what we're meant to believe. I disagree with that. I very much doubt that Cubby Broccoli really felt that, but maybe Harry Saltzman did. And, you know, the tension started mounting between the producers and Sean Connery, you know, over the years. I mean, got to the stage, everybody, and it's in the documentary, Everything or Nothing, that Sean Connery said if Harry Saltzman ever came on set, he would stop work. And he did. So he just shows the tensions. And basically, he wanted out. And they agreed he wouldn't have to do the last film in his contract. And he was let go. And then obviously they went on to get George Lazenby for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And then they got Connery back, as we all know, for Diamonds Are Forever. But this is where now our Elseworlds branch tangents off. So, hear me out, everybody. So, it's the end of You Only Live Twice. It's, you know, it's a massive success. Not maybe as big as Thunderball, but it's a massive, massive success. And they start now looking for their next James Bond. The search is going on, obviously people are going round. Meanwhile, they're working on the script On Her Majesty's Secret Service as the next one. And things are going along pretty fine, everything's all hunky-dory, and basically, in a nutshell, Peter Hunt says, guys, I've got to be honest, I really, really want to try and get Sean Connery back. But they're going, no, we don't want Sean. Sean's gone now. We've got to look for the next person. But the thing is, Peter Hunt says, I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him about maybe potentially coming back and tell him about my story. Because one of the things Sean Connery really wanted in the franchise was to get a bit more back to how it was like in Dr. No and From Russia with Love. Really sort of spy thriller centric first. I mean, again, if you look at Never Say Never Again, he sort of got that, and that was the style he was trying to go for, the real spy centric thing before action first. And so Peter Hunt sets up a meeting with Sean Connery, and because they have met each other previous, and I'm sure they're friends outside of the franchise, and basically in my mind, I imagine Peter Hunt goes to Sean and said, look, I know you feel this way, but the Bond film you've always wanted is the film I'm making. I'm going away from the gadgets. I'm going away from the big, mountain layers and gold bullion and stuff. I'm literally adapting the story. This is, it's very much, we're adapting a James Bond book. As Peter Hunt said, I didn't want to deviate. I didn't need to deviate. It's all there. It's all there in this great James Bond book. And I believe Sean Connery is at this point says, no, sorry, Peter, I'm out. I don't want to work with those producers again. I want to go off and do other things. But however, things progress and the story goes on, and we're still searching for the new Bond. Maybe at this point, someone comes in and going, here you're looking for James Bond, and it's George Lazenby. But Peter Hunt, still in the back of his mind, really wants Sean Connery. And so once the script is virtually done, he says, Sean, read the script. And in my mind, Sean Connery just loves the script. He really does. This to him is the James Bond film he's always wanted to make. And he makes an agreement with Peter Hunt saying, if you can get me a bit more creative control and promise me that it's going to be more like this than in the previous Bond films, he will come back and finish his contract as James Bond. So, with that in mind, Peter Hunt rushes back to the producer saying, look, Sean Connery has agreed to come back, everybody. All he wants is more money to show actually his star power and actually how much he brings to the franchise, and a bit more creative control over some people who are cast. United Artists basically say, we're prepared to do it. We're prepared to do it. And this is where everybody, this is where it's very important. That Diamonds Are Forever deal that he gets $1.2 million and 2 films automatically approved. This is where that deal comes in now. Instead of Diamonds Are Forever, the extraordinary amount deal that Sean Connery gets for this movie, everybody, that deal now comes to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And essentially, everybody, he still puts all that money into the Scots Educational Trust Fund to launch the trust. And Sean Connery is now back doing On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And do you know what? He's having a really good time a bit with this movie because, in my mind, Sean Connery loves working with director Peter Hunt. He's very much, trained up from his favourite Terence Young. The style and tone is going exactly how sort of he imagined it in his head. The film is going really well. It's, the marketing saying Bond is back. The praise Sean Connery, he is coming back for this next James Bond film. And what I've noticed, if you look at the behind the scenes stuff they might do with this film, you're probably going to find that Sean Connery this film is slightly reigniting his love of the James Bond character a bit. And I think working behind doing this sort of story is really igniting his love of what he loved about the character when he first got the role. I really do see that happening, everybody. And, he and Peter Hunt are actually forming a really wonderful partnership for this. It's really working between the two. And then obviously the film comes out, everybody. And you know what? In my mind, with Sean Connery in the role in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and by the way, nothing else changes, just the only difference is George Lazenby didn't get cast here and Sean Connery is in. This film becomes the biggest and the most successful Bond film of the 60s and of the all-time of the franchise. Now, I'm not saying what, our normal On Her Majesty's Secret Service isn't good, but this is like stratospheric brilliant. Everyone's saying, oh my god, I didn't realise Bond could be so, in depth and such a character, not just a, cool sort of super spy. This is a real in-depth character piece, and Sean Connery is absolutely just nailing it on every cylinder. The bit where he's now playing on the death of Diana Riggs Tracy, his wife, is just, it's considered one of the all-time great cinematic piece scenes of all time. It really is this ultimate juggernaut. And it really has reunited the love Sean Connery has of James Bond, because he never thought he could do a Bond film like this. He never thought he'd get a chance to again. And him and Peter Hunt together really have done it. And it's just excited him again. So they basically, with that, they think, okay, he's come back, he's done the last one, now we're going to have to search for a new Bond. But this is where the twist happens, everybody. He's actually going to say in this Elseworlds, you know what, if Peter Hunt directs again, and we do something again similar to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I'll come back and do another. Yes, he does. And the decision is made for more of a continuation of the On Her Majesty's Secret Service storyline of Bond going out revenge for Blofeld. Basically, my idea of a remake of Diamonds Are Forever, with now this time Sean Connery starring again as normal, but Peter Hunt directing. And again, it is another massive, massive success. And out of this one film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, going with a different director, someone Connery really gets on with and loves the style and direction he does with Bond, you get these two really last great Bond films that are like a two-part story, which they're meant to be, you know, and it eventually becomes this great end send-off to Sean Connery, you know, this great film about him falling in love, and then the next film going out for revenge after the death of his love. And I think it would have been, nowadays, if this happened to pass, you'd look back at it now and think, oh my god, this was like one of the most amazing moments in the entire Bond franchise. This two-part story, really, that is just utterly spectacular. And I also really think strongly it would have been, I think, potentially Sean Connery's greatest performance in the franchise on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I really do. Don't get me wrong, again, I say I do love George Lazenby in the role. I think he does an amazing job in On Her Majesty's. But Sean Connery doing it, I think, would have, as I said, made this film one of the greatest all-time films of all time. I think it would have been considered Connery's best film of all time. And then following on from Diamonds Are Forever, just to get back into a bit of a normal timeline tangent here, you know, he's not coming back anymore. You know, you got him back to do 2 more Bond films. But now they move on and they decide, you know, Sean Connery's successor will be Roger Moore starring in Live and Let Die, everybody. So that's really it, everybody. That's how I imagine the timeline will go, everybody, if Sean Connery came back and did On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think we would have got the best Bond film of the 60s, maybe one of the best Bond films truly universally acclaimed worldwide. I think, you know, it would have reignited his love for the character. It would have really given him the Bond films he really wanted to do. And it would have set, you know, it would have shown sort of, I think, even more that the Bond series is one of the greatest things of all time, which, again, it always is. And people know this to this day. But I just think honestly, it was a bit of a horrible missed opportunity that we couldn't get Sean Connery doing On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because I think it was the Bond film he desperately wanted to do. And I think he would have done it so well, and he really would have put more heart and soul into it than ever. But, you know, that's life, everybody. But I want to know, everybody, do you like my idea about how I think this alternate Elseworld would have gone down, everybody? Do you think I'm right? Do you think it's wrong that Connery left or came back? Comment down below and tell me. Don't forget to like and comment, subscribe to the video, everybody. And don't forget to click the notification bell icon for future updates. And as always, everybody, just a massive thank you from me to you for coming on here and being part of the show. As always, everybody, my name's Henry Stevens, and this has been Some Bond Geek Talks About. Goodbye.